Yeah, we've all made some pretty bad decisions with our money, and not a single person on this planet can say that they've not made some money mistakes, except maybe Mother Teresa. But every other person on this planet has made at least one financial mistake. And of course, I am no exception, as I pretty much admit on a daily basis all of the money mistakes that I've made. So today I'm going to walk you through some of the worst money decisions to make ever, all of which, with the exception of actually two, I have done. So I'll go through each one and explain how each money decision error can impact your financial future. And of course, no video would be complete without me going over the most horrible money decision that I personally have ever made in my whole life. And no, it isn't going to be having debt or my ridiculously expensive wedding. This particular horrible money decision is something I realized was super duper extra moronic fairly recently, and I'm kind of disgusted with myself about ever allowing it to happen. Hi, I'm Wendy Valencia. Today I'm collabing with Mary over at Pennies Not Perfection, where we are both going to talk about the very worst decisions we have ever made with our money. So I've been following Mary pretty much since she paid off her car in like early 2018, I think. And I finally got to meet her at FinCon last year, and I loved just being able to sit and talk to her face to face. Since we had been following each other for quite a while, it was kind of like talking to an old friend that I just hadn't seen in a really long time. I love her channel because it's so very real and honest, and I really enjoy watching her. So I'll put a link down in the description box so y'all can head over there and check her out. Make sure you tell her I said hey. Now, before we jump into this, I want y'all to pause this video and go down into the comment section and tell me what you would consider the very worst money decision that you could possibly make. It doesn't have to necessarily be one you've made yourself. Just what do you think would absolutely be the worst? I'll be interested to see if the answers are all similar or if everybody has like vastly different opinions. So number one, not having enough cash set aside for emergencies. Y'all know I'm a huge proponent of this. With everything that is going on in the world today, I think we can all pretty much agree that $1,000 is not enough. But how much is enough for emergencies, especially when you're going through like a debt payoff, for example? Is it a month, 3 months, 6 months, a year? No matter what, not having a fully funded emergency fund when things hit the fan is paramount to financial disaster. And you know me, I am very, very much a proponent of saving enough for emergencies before you really get hardcore into the debt payoff. Number two, consumer debt. So consumer debt is a huge problem, but it really is a problem in multiple areas. For one, it's a problem because it pulls money away from investing. It's a problem because you're actually paying significantly more for something than it would cost if you paid for cash. And I'm not gonna lie, we had a lot of consumer debt. I mean, like over $360,000, not all of which was consumer debt. 50 of it was a school loan. Actually, it was 90 because 50 of it was our school loan and then another 40 was my sister-in-law and her husband's school loans. But the rest of it was loans with a bank, which had no collateral associated with them. We didn't have a lot of credit card debt, but we operated on bank loans for emergencies for a really, really long time. Not the best way to run your finances, and probably the reason I'm such a big proponent of having an emergency fund that is large. Number three, being too frugal. Yes, I said it. That's actually a bad money decision. Going to an extreme on either side, being too frugal or too not frugal, is a horrible decision. And the reason is it's too difficult to maintain. It's like following a crash diet for long term. Nobody wants to do that. It's not healthy, and it's paramount to failure. So why would you do it? It is completely okay to enjoy life a little bit. If you have financial goals, you just need to prioritize. I did try being really restrictively frugal, and it was when we first got married and I was trying to start the debt payoff plan. It lasted maybe 6 weeks. Number 4, not understanding money and investing. This one is really important. I was having a conversation with somebody the other day where we were talking about a car lease. And it was pretty obvious to me that they didn't understand the mechanics behind leasing a car. And now I'm not here to say that leasing a car is good or bad, not today at least. But not understanding, especially if you're signing on to take on debt or something like that, investing, not understanding is really a bad idea. You should always know exactly where your money's going. And I failed miserably at this when I was young. I invested from the day I graduated from college, but I never really understood my 401k. I just put money into it and moved on with my life, which is better than not doing it at all. But it absolutely is something you need to understand, because you need to know, is it better that I invest here or over here? Which one will benefit me the most? Number 5, increasing your lifestyle every time you increase your income. So I am massively guilty of this one. Have you actually done that? Because if you have, I want you to click the like button, because I need to know I'm not alone. I mean, I seriously was bad about this from about 20 to, I'm going to say about 40. Yeah, I'm older than 40 now. We're talking about going from earning $18,000 a year and living in government subsidized housing when I first graduated to college to making a 6-figure income. I'm dumb. I was dumb. I'm not dumb anymore. We have definitely stopped increasing our lifestyle at this point. Now, there's something to be said for being able to increase your lifestyle if you're also increasing your saving or investing along with it. But you don't have to increase it proportionally. If you get, let's say, a 10% raise, maybe 9% goes to investing and saving and 1% goes to a lifestyle increase. That is far more reasonable than what I did, which was put all 10% into my lifestyle increase. I never actually got a 10% raise, but that's just a hypothetical number because this is my video. I can pick whatever numbers I want. Number 6, cosigning a loan. So this one should be obvious, but many people make this mistake. The whole point behind cosigning a loan is that the person that you're co-signing with can't afford to make the payments on their own. The bank has assessed that they don't have enough money to pay the loan, and that's why they need a co-signer. So if you plan on co-signing a loan, you better plan on paying for it too. And this comes from a true place of understanding, because y'all know that I co-signed on my sister-in-law and her husband's school loans. And as I mentioned in the beginning, due to some ridiculously sad circumstances, we are saddled with an additional $40,000 that we had to add to our debt payoff. And we never expected to pay that. Number 7, not managing money well before 40. Yeah, did you hear me talk about the lifestyle increase before 40? Yeah, true story. So this actually happens to a huge number of people. They get to their 40s and 50s and all of a sudden retirement is looking them squarely in the face, and they are like, well, where's all my money? Oh, I never invested. So yeah, so then they're scrambling to save enough money to retire on, and it's miserable in your 40s and 50s. And if you just start in your 20s, you won't have to worry about money. Now, for some of you, that's probably too late, but hey, better start today than wait another 10 years and make it even worse. Number 8, not budgeting. So I've been budgeting for well over a decade now, and it is super helpful to meeting financial goals. You don't realize how important it is to managing your money until you start doing it. I have learned so much from budgeting. It has taught me about my personal habits, my spending habits. It's taught me about my husband's spending habits. We both have learned that we're stress spenders. When we're under stress, we like to spend money. It makes us feel better. So we can watch for those kind of behaviors when we're vulnerable. Number 9, not making a will. Money Magazine reports that 57% of Americans don't have a will, including 69% of parents with kids under age 18. Without a will, guess who decides what happens to your finances if you die? The state. Do you really want to let the state decide those issues for you? Having a will is so important. And as soon as Melina was born, Mauricio and I did get a will. So we were okay with that. But I will tell you, we haven't updated it since we got back from Mexico. And it's drastically different right now. And that's where we failed in this one. You have to update them regularly as your situation changes. And so that's actually on my to-do list because it is so incredibly important. Number 10, not having enough insurance. There are numerous insurances that you should have. And insurance is one of those things that you aren't going to get a return on your investment unless you need it. So for example, medical insurance, car insurance, renters or homeowners insurance, life insurance, long-term disability insurance, and long-term care insurance, which is a must between 50 and 60. So I've always been a huge proponent of insurance, and I've had a lot of them. I haven't had all of them until recently. Now I have all of them. I don't have long-term care yet because I haven't reached that age, but I absolutely will because they are so important. Number 11, not teaching your children about money from when they are very young. Okay, think about this. Do you want your child to move in with you when they're 40 because they don't have any money? That's not what happened to us. I'm just saying. We didn't move in with my parents because we didn't have any money. We moved in with my parents for other reasons, which y'all know. If you don't start teaching your child, I bet each one of you can sit here and tell me something about finances that your parents never taught you. Let's not do that to our kids. Let's all commit to teaching our kids about money so that they will be financially strong. We are in an economic crisis in the United States on and off right now, and I expect it will probably get worse before it gets better. Let's learn from this. Let's go ahead and teach our kids how they can protect their money and their futures. Number 12, not asking money questions before you get married. So yeah, Mauricio and I never actually talked about money before we got married. He knew I had debt. I knew he had debt. We didn't really discuss it, and that was a mistake. For us, it ended up working out fine, but it did take us years to get on the same page. I mean, years. If you start out your marriage being on the same page, you will be so much better off in the long run. Now, do I believe you should choose a spouse based on their money opinions? Probably not. I mean, in the worst scenarios, yes. Because let's say you marry a spendthrift, I mean, that can destroy you financially. So yeah, you need to know that kind of stuff ahead of time. But if you have differing opinions on investing or how to teach your child about money, those things you can work out. But it is a conversation you need to have. Number 13, not creating a college plan for kids. And this is actually one of the two that I have actually not done, because we opened a 529 about 2 months after Melina was born. And I actually am a huge proponent of paying for your child's college for them so that they don't start their adult life in debt. And I actually am such a huge proponent of it that I created this whole financial calculator, and it's on my website. And it has where you can estimate like the varying levels of school to figure out how much it's going to cost. So if you have an 8-year-old, how much it'll cost when they're 18, so you can have a good idea of how much money you need to set aside. And then it also has a cost calculator for all the little things that you pay for in college. And some of those you might choose to have your kid pay for or you pay for, but it really lays out a good idea of the amount of money you need to have for college. Number 14, unplugging 401k money for any reason whatsoever, be it pay off debt, be it a financial emergency. I've actually seen people unplug money from their 401k to take an expensive vacation. This is ridiculous, and sadly one that I did when I was younger. I had an emergency financially, and so I took $10,000 out of my 401k and I paid it back to myself. And my logic was like, well, I'm paying myself the interest, not the bank. But if you run the numbers of pulling that money out of your 401k and unplugging it from the increase of the investment, it is a ridiculous decision. Number 15, buying a house or a car you can't afford. You need to aim for your house to cost 30% of your income. Your monthly payment should be 30% of your income. And it is very difficult when you live in an area like I do, in the more expensive areas of Washington, D.C. But if you going in cannot even look at the houses that are outside of that 30% price range, you will save yourself so much stress and strife down the road. And trust me when I tell you, don't even go look at them. You know why? Because the more expensive the house, the better it is. If you have $250,000 to spend on a house, and you could probably swing the payments for a $300,000 house, but it's well over 30%, don't even look at it, because that $300,000 house is $300,000 for a reason. Number 16, not investing from the very beginning of your career. And thank goodness this is the second one that I actually never did, because it's honestly how we've always been able to have a positive net worth. So let me give you a scenario. Sarah and Samantha are both 25, and they both do the exact same job with the exact same career trajectory. Sarah starts out by contributing $5,500 to her retirement every single year. And we're going to go ahead and assume an 8% average, because that's what I earn on my investments. Sarah will actually have $1,485,816 accumulated by the time she reaches 65. Samantha, however, makes a very bad money decision and doesn't really think about it. And before she knows it, she's 40 years old and she has not ever invested at all. This isn't an uncommon story for people. This is actually pretty normal. So at 40 years old, she begins funding her retirement at $5,500 per year and gets the same 8%, because we're fair. But by the time Samantha turns 65, she only has $419,298. So basically that 15 years of less than $500 a month in the beginning of her career caused Samantha to lose over $1 million. That's kind of sickening when you think about it. Math. It's a good thing. And speaking of math, number 17, let me go ahead and tell you about the worst money decision that Mauricio and I have ever made. Well, and that I've made in my entire life. And that was not letting math guide your financial decisions. And I know you're thinking to yourself, that doesn't really sound so horrible. But seriously, all of these horrible things that I've actually done with my money, this one is well exceeding all of them as the worst. So let me walk you through the actual numbers, and I think you're going to agree that this is the worst decision we made. So when we decided to pay off our debt in 2016, we stopped all our retirement contributions. I was basically blindly following a plan that told you to stop retirement contributions while paying off debt, and my gut told me it was a bad idea, but Mauricio and I talked about it and we decided to do it anyway because that'd give us a little bit of extra money to throw at debt each year. But really quick, let me walk you through the actual numbers. So let's just talk about the 5% match that I get with my 401k. Okay, just the 5%. This scenario is only for me and doesn't include Mauricio, who also wasn't contributing to retirement. Had I contributed 5% of my income from age 43 to age 46, which would allow me to get a full match for my retirement plan, 100% for the first 2% and 50% for the next 3%, assuming an 8% growth rate, because as I said, that's what I've gotten historically, I would have a whopping $176,208 more in my retirement account. And that would be based on me contributing a grand total of $21,000. And I have to admit, that number makes my stomach hurt. And all I can say is, thank goodness I don't have to run the numbers to tell you that I just started contributing to retirement at 46, because yeah, that would be, oh gosh, no. No. So if you want to see the video where I talk about my biggest financial regret, I'm going to link it up right over here. So I'll see you in the next one.